beautiful day. We got 410s. We got USAC East Coast. And we also got modifieds here today. Here with Jay-Z. And over here on the mic over here, or on the soundboard over here, getting it adjusted for us, is Alex Robinson.
He might be in and out of the view till we get all this adjusted, but Alex Robinson, he is the announcer here at Bridgeport. John Krull just walked up here to say hi.
Hey.
What's up, John? How are you, sir? Walked up to say hi here. Coming in, checking out. We're going to have Kyle Reinhardt. He wandered off here to the side somewhere. But he said he was here and checked in, and then he checked right back out. So he should be back any minute. Can't believe the weather. This is probably one of the nicer race days we've had all year.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't 100, it was raining. So even last week, it was nice, but it got cold. We've already had some cold. And
yeah, I think the weather's going to change a lot here. It looks like Monday. So enjoy it while it lasts. If you're in the area, definitely get on down here to Bridgeport. It's a beautiful day for some sprint car racing. So we're going to bring on our first guest here. Well, first of all, Alex, thank you for getting this all set up. How are you doing today? Are you excited for tonight?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a fun one.
I don't know if your mic's on. Listen,
No, there we go. There we go.
The announcer without a mic.
That's fine.
This guy. So you're going to have fun tonight, Alex?
Oh, it's sprint cars? It's always a fun time.
You don't even like sprint cars.
Look, it's modified country down
Hey,
here.
Kyle, he doesn't like sprint cars. If he announces, are you ready? Come on up here, man. Hey, we're going to get Kyle Reinhardt in here, chat with him a little bit about his season and what the ultimate looks like.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Reinhardt, welcome to the show. Yeah, we're live. Yeah.
We're live right now.
Cool.
On are we on ours?
We're on the T2T page, and we're also on the Bridgeport page.
And it'll be obviously recorded, and we'll put it
So-
up probably maybe the audio on T2T as well.
So let's move in.
Come on in,
here.
everybody.
We kind of had to use that.
So you've had an eventful season. I think coming back home, doing some traveling, doing some not, but pick up a sponsor in the middle of the season, pick up a ride at the end of the season. Review your season so far and how it's gone.
Yeah, it's been a lot of up and down, really. I came off the road last year, not really by choice, just kind of the way the cards fell. And, funding is obviously a big part of sprint car racing and racing in general. So didn't have the funding to do the all-star deal, so kind of just was going to pick and choose and race where we can, when we can, what makes sense to do financially. And unfortunately, there's some races that just don't make sense to go to. So I really try and run my team that way to get the most return that we can. And that's kind of where I base my schedule and kind of just take it week by week. And luckily, pretty early in the season, I got hooked up with Ace Distributing and Coors. And obviously Capital Renegade has supported me for a long time and Henry's Record Service. So those three guys really allow the 91 to get up and down the road. So just kind of chipped away, week by week doing that. And then, right around Speed Week, we were going pretty good. I think we were getting a lot more consistent. And then my buddy Chris Shuttlesworth, he kind of had an opening and we kind of made a deal to get hooked up together. And ever since then, we've been just really chipping away at it and picked up a couple wins. And we've been really fast everywhere we go. So it's been good for that. And then, then the 45 deal kind of opened up and they called me to come drive and I'm pretty much open to drive anything, especially if, it's not on my team's dollar, So that worked out good. And he allowed me to bring my sponsors along and kind of represent them because that's important for me and my team. So yeah, it just kind of worked out. And we got an all-star win with them and we had a lot of speed with them as well. So just kind of kept chipping away.
And I think the timing, if you have to come off the road and come back to Central PA, we have enough racing. We have enough money to win. May not have all that guaranteed type money out there, but that travel expense has to outweigh that. I mean, how did that? I don't even know your finances, but did that work out for you in the season?
Yeah, I think it's obvious. Like the All-Star deal, we didn't have the best finishes and stuff. We kind of struggled, and that was for a lot of reasons. Our cars were different, and I was doing it myself with one guy, and we're racing against teams that have 4 full-time employees. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people in the grandstands just don't see. And so we really struggled with that, and the guaranteed money being an all-star member really helps the car keep going down the road. You know what I mean? You go to the track and that you're taking home X amount of dollars and you're not spending money for pit passes and all that kind of stuff. So there is a lot of money in PA, but you have to be running good to get that money. So
Who knew?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? So it's like, So luckily we've been running good enough, and it has balanced out.
So let's talk about this weekend a little bit, and actually some recent, because Jimmy and I were talking, and a group of us were talking, and I've watched your season pretty close, do some photography for Addicted to Dirt and Rich, and for you guys. So I follow along pretty closely, but it always stands out to me at BAPS and Bridgeport. What is it about those two places that seem to do they just your style? Just what is it that seems to make you be a contender for wins, not just good finishes?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I've just always, ever since I started racing 410s with the 21 car, we've always gotten good at BAPS. And then there's just something about racing a 410 in New Jersey that just gets me going. There's not many races to run. There's only 3 a year, so it's like they're just extra special, and just something about this place. I just go around good. So I think those two things colliding just puts us up front.
Yeah, we did a show just before the high limit race here, and we talked about dark horses and favorites. And I'm like, I don't know if Kyle's a dark horse or a favorite, but I think he's both, because I don't think maybe on the national scene everybody would have been Kyle Reinhardt at Bridgeport, but I know it, and we pay attention enough to your performances and things. I'm like, and then you got third, I believe, right? You got a podium, so
5th at the high limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you were up there, like you were contending, not just for the lead. So, Alex, what do you got for Kyle?
So 3rd All-Stars, because you were on the podium for the All-Stars, top 5 high limit, locked into the dash for tonight after quickest in that second group to lock into the dash. Again, favorites, I think it has to be one of you guys up front with you and Anthony locking into that dash already.
Yeah, I would like to think so too. I mean, like you said, we finished second at the All-Star show, top 5 at the high limit show. It's like it doesn't get any harder than that, and the Outlaw show last year we ran really good. So I think you're right. Like, people around here know that we're fast, but maybe the national scene doesn't really consider us to be a contender, but I think we are. Obviously, we've shown it. So coming in today, it's the same deal. Like, obviously the competition is really tough. It's not a national competition, but it's the best in PA and around the area. So it's not going to be easy for sure. But I think just going into the night, last night was a great kind of tune-up that we don't normally get for 10 racing, and just to come in knowing that we're already in the dash, and I don't have to put myself in any like bad positions in the heat race, or we're still going to go out and run a time trial lap and kind of get in our normal flow of the night. But it just takes a lot of weight off of our shoulders, knowing that we're already in the dash, and there's going to be 7, 8, 9 pills in the bag, and it doesn't really matter what happens. We're going to get one of them.
Talk about a little bit, it's going to be a little bit of an earlier start time. It's pretty warm today. How do you think this track's going to be and how do you think it's going to be different from maybe last night?
Yeah, I think obviously last night was pretty wet to start, and it was a little rough, and they worked it out really good, better than I thought it was going to be. The non-qualifier race, I watched that, and that was a really good race, and obviously it's gonna blow off a lot quicker with the sun, and it's a little warm out, so I think it'll slow down faster, which should be better for the race and the feature. You know what I mean? Unless you're out front and you want to be just gone, but for the fans, it's going to be a lot better. I think just slowing down a little bit. It'll get dirty. It's been getting really dirty here all year, and there's like you could really see it getting into 3. Like at the high limit show, I almost took the wall down. Larson almost took the wall down, and you just the way the air is and the way the banking goes, you just kind of get put in a spot and you can't get out of it. So and it's so dirty out there, and you just go. And I think that is just it's gonna be dirty around the whole track, so it's gonna make a better race.
I'm not a driver, never drove, but is it pretty cool coming down off the hill here? Like when you get up on the peak of that in the apex and turn it and come down the hill, is it as cool as it looks from TV?
Yeah, it's aggressive. Like it is really aggressive, I think, because you can get put up there, and like racing here, you know that's where you're gonna make the most speed. So you want to be up there, but sometimes cars get down there on the bottom and they're way ahead of you, and you're like, holy shit, they're out there, yeah. And then all of a sudden you come down the bank and you're doing like 30 miles an hour faster than them, and it just changes everything. So, and for whatever reason, it's a lot different over in 2 than 4. It's more, I don't know, it's more like a bowl off of 2 than 4 kind of flattens out. But yeah, you got to get up there or else you're not going to make speed.
And I've been there. This is my second time here. And last year when I came here for the first time, for a while, I just kind of stood there and watched. Like I watch it on TV, but it's just different being here. And if you live anywhere near here, you got time, get here, because You can't ask for better weather. I don't know what else you'd be doing. Penn State's playing Indiana. I heard it wasn't going well early. So watch it on the way. Get your asses here and watch a race. So I want to go back just a little bit. I hate to go back and forth, but I want to go back to BAPS last weekend. And, obviously there was an incident in turn 1 and 2 there. And thankfully you got to keep going, but the car was hurt. How much did that affect your everything about that deal?
Yeah, that was the whole race, unfortunately. We just did what we've been doing the last couple months and just putting ourselves in good spots, timing good, putting ourselves in a good spot in the heat race to not have to kill ourselves to make the redraw of the dash, whatever it is. And just doing our job, me and Chris and just all my guys just really just putting us in a good spot and getting there. And I did that. And then, I've just been so comfortable in my car lately, and I just was being so patient. And I honestly kind of lost track of laps. Like I didn't know we were that close to the finish, but we were still all over the 27. And I think we were by far a better car, and I was way better in traffic. So that was like going to be my move. And then it just got wiped right out from underneath me. And, it's racing. Things happen. Just because you have the best car doesn't mean you're going to win the race. But it kind of sucks when you get taken out from behind. You know what I mean? And unfortunately that, it's happened more than once. So it's going to happen. But the wing got ripped off and we had some chassis damage and stuff. And it was a struggle. Like I was surprisingly contending still for like 2 laps. But then after that red, like my wing was almost gone on the right sideboard. And we just had no stick, like no downforce. And then tires cooled down in the open red. And then I was in big trouble.
Yeah, and I as that race went on, I could see guys getting their wing back further and further and further. So that wing became even more important. Not that it's not important early, but it became even more important. And if it's not there, that's your race. So, and I agree, Troy had his wing back pretty early. He's struggled at bat self-admittedly. He got out front. I think clean air was his savior. I think, I close with Troy and with the show and friends, but he gets to second, he may end up 6th. Because I don't think he was as good as he was leading, but leading helps a lot.
Yeah.
Being in control of it a lot. So how do you manage that? Like you obviously go back and watch game film and go, yeah, if I don't get taken out, I still have a chance to win. But do you look back and go, I wish I made that move a little bit sooner?
Yeah, I did. I went back and watched and there was, I knew there was a lot of time left. And, Troy, like he's always raced me clean. So you try and race people as they race you. And, I was probably a little too conservative. And the one time I get a really good run off of 4, and I tried to get under him, and I should have just ripped the fence. And because I did that earlier, and I ate him up, and I kind of just put myself in a bad spot, and he kind of dictated where I went. And then Anthony drove around us, and luckily I got another shot because the red came out. But yeah, Troy did what he had to do. He didn't have the best car, but he won the race. So he controlled the race, and obviously stuff happened behind him that he couldn't control and that I couldn't control, and it's just the way it shook out.
So kind of looking forward to the off season. I don't think it's too far away because we're getting there quick. Are you doing World Finals?
No, so that's one of the races I decided to cut.
No worries. And then looking in the off season, I mean, it's early, but do you have any preliminary plans, ideas, or is it sort of like we get into January and we start to figure it out?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say January, but I mean, there's really no plans at the moment. I'd like to, run my car, run my own schedule. I'm trying to see, what's going to happen with the 45 car and because those talks are still going on, but it's kind of hard to make a plan or anything without schedules from High Limit and the Outlaws and that kind of stuff. So
I think this is going to be a weird year for timing.
You
may have an idea.
Yeah.
But I think we get into maybe PRI season. When is PRI typically?
December,
right? So maybe I was a little bit far out, but I was telling somebody else that I feel like PRI is going to be like the season start, and everybody starts making it more of a plan after PRI, more than ever.
Typically, the schedules come out PRI, but I'm really hoping they come out earlier because it's late to try and make a game plan in December. I mean, if you're going to go to Florida, it's like you got to be ready in like eight weeks after that. So it's not a lot of time, and hopefully they announce some stuff earlier than later.
For sure. Where are we at on time? Pretty good.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you get out of here and get out of the sun and get ready for tonight. You want to give any sponsors a shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, just thank the guys that get me down the road: Capital Renegade, Capital Custom Trailers and Coaches, Henry's Record Service, and Coors Banquet Beer. They're like I said earlier, they're really the reason that the 91 car is up and down the road. So can't thank them enough.
Well, we appreciate you having you on. Good luck tonight.
Yeah, thank
We'll
you.
get them.
Good luck. Hopefully,
guys.
Alex will be interviewing in Victory Lane maybe
Yeah,
tonight.
thanks. Yeah, I'll take that.
Kyle Reinhardt, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Gates are starting to open. Fans are starting to fill in here to Bridgeport. And we're going to get into our next guest here. He is going for the USAC East Coast title tonight. In
Wait,
both
does it end tonight?
it ends tonight. Tonight's the season finale. Ladies and gentlemen, Briggs Danner.
What's going on, buddy?
How are you
Briggs.
guys? How are you?
Sir? So Jimmy just said tonight's the night.
Yeah.
What's your point? First, second, where you at? Catch me up.
No, he's in the lead by
So we're leading points, but driver points a pretty good amount. Basically, as long as we don't have no problems, we'll be in good shape. Owners' points are pretty close because we blew up at Williams Grove earlier this year. Had to hop in somebody else's car, and so the owners' points is after Delaware last week. I think we're 4 points ahead, and it features 3 points a spot. So it's basically who beats who comes down to the end of it. Heat races pay points, and so yeah, we got to be on top of our game for that. I mean, track was pretty good last night. I was here watching, but I don't think we're gonna have the same track to deal with today. So just gotta stay on top of it and focus on our race, and that's what we're here for.
Well, midgets canceled. Every USAC event that we've had this year is canceled.
Yeah, right.
So for all of you guys, it's the first time this year on this track. You got the test earlier in the year with that midget. So again, different track from March. What's the plan here after seeing how this track has developed through the summer?
Yeah, definitely. Like Kyle said earlier, it's been very dirty this year. We were here for practice with the midget early in the year when they put new clay on, and that didn't last long. They tore that back off. So I don't think it's quite the same as what it used to be last year, even though they kind of backtracked a little bit with the racetrack. But I mean, I think it's just like any other track. You gotta start somewhere, and you gotta build off of it and pay attention to the track and chase it. So I think we'll be in good shape either way. I think if we had yesterday's track, I'd really be excited to see it because that top built up nice, and it was a little rough getting in the corner. So it's hammered down for a wingless car. A lot of fun. So we'll see what happens today.
So actually, you brought up something earlier, the Williams Grove race where you blew up. I was there that night.
Yeah.
And I kind of watched in amazement because you get in someone else's car and you drove through the field and had a chance to win that thing late, right?
Yeah.
I think, and it was unbelievable where you made up time, how you made up time against guys. How much time did you have to prepare? Was there anything in that car as far as setup, seat, wheel, vision, anything that was comfortable? Or did you say, hey, can I go do this? And you just drove?
Yeah, well, so we started off that night really, really good in our own car and had motor problems in a heat race, kind of limped it to the end and ended up winning the heat. So we qualified for the feature, but we weren't able to run the feature with our motor. So Ed Aiken came up to us and he said, hey, you want to run my car? I said, well, yeah, I got nothing else to run. So I got in his seat and me and Timmy went over there and we changed some things from their program just to get it back to where we thought we needed to be. And, it took me a couple laps to figure out where I was at. And it was tricky Williams Grove that night for a wingless car. I mean, 1 and 2, most guys were on the bottom, but I started in the back and I wasn't going to pass anybody following them on the bottom. So I went to the top and if I hit it right, I was good. If I missed it, I went backwards a little bit, but that was the risk I was willing to take. I mean, I had nothing to lose, right? So, we got up into third there in pretty good speed, actually. And by the time I was in third, it started to keep laying rubber and tire was used up. I just kind of settled in. But, no, I mean, that was huge just for the driver's points and, even the owner's points, like just finishing off that heat race with a hurt motor, winning it was important for the owner's points because it's only 4 points that separate us. So we haven't had a whole lot of races this year. So every time you can get a couple points, that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I was in amazement that night watching you. Like you said, if you hit 1 and 2 right, the amount of momentum you could carry down the backstretch into 3, where even if you weren't tons better than everybody else in 3 and 4, you had the momentum.
Yeah, right.
And you could, or at least you closed that ground up and you passed them again in 1 and 2. So it was super entertaining, and I was a fan. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I would imagine being the only guy up there too. It was just, you didn't have anything in your way to distract you. You could just kind of concentrate. So you've done a lot of traveling this year. You've ran a lot of stuff. How many races have you ran this year? Do you know?
We ran, I think this would be East Coast race number 14, and then we ran 15 or 16 national shows this year. So, I mean, as far as traveling and running national stuff, we've done more of that than and running at home. Like
Yeah.
it was a smaller schedule this year for East Coast. With the weather, we had some cancellations, so we did a good amount of racing, and no matter what, like even when rainouts happen, you're still preparing, you're still getting stuff ready. So it's a grind either way. But we did good at the national races. It's fun to go there and keep up with them as far as like an East Coast guy coming out on their turf. It's a little bit different than Eastern Storm. So no, we've been having a good time.
Do you feel like that travel helps you? I mean, I can't say it hurts, but
Yeah.
do you feel like that's something you really want to do if you can? Does that help you as a driver? I mean, what has that done for you to get out there and do that stuff?
Yeah, definitely, man. I feel like anytime you can get in a car, no matter what it is, anytime you can go to a new track and you have to learn to adjust real quick, that's huge. So when you come back home and you have a little bit of knowledge that you already know going into the race, it helps you that much more. So, I think anytime that you can get in a car, anytime you can go to a new track is very beneficial.
You ran 410, 360, but you also were running speedsters. You jumped in a modified this year.
Yeah.
What's your favorite to drive, and where do you see maybe yourself eventually ending up in? Like, what's your goal to be running?
Yeah, I think my favorite to run is the wingless sprint car. I just feel like there's so much more as a driver that you can do to make up for things on the track, racing situations, the car, whatever, just to kind of make the best of every situation. So wingless racing is a lot of fun. I mean, I try to get behind the wheel of anything that I can. I ran modified at Grandview this year. We ran a sixer for Jason Miller, and that was a lot of fun, just going back to Grandview where I used to race modifieds weekly with my own car, and just a really cool deal. So, yeah, I mean, anytime you can get in a car, different track, different car, or whatever, I think it helps you.
And was there rumor of you running multiple cars tonight? I saw that on Facebook or on
No,
social media?
we're just doing the wingless car tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you should focus just on that. That's
Yeah,
important.
yeah,
Right.
right.
Good call. So have you been in a wing car yet?
We have, yeah. We last year I ran wing a little bit, and people always ask me, what do you prefer? Well, I tell them wing racing is fun if your car is good and you're going forwards, but if you're going backwards, it's not fun. So I like the wingless stuff, but I try to run whatever I can, and when you can learn, that's the biggest thing, is you always get better. So
Is Tulsa and Chili Bowl something that you've done or want to do?
Yeah, I ran Chili Bowl twice, not Tulsa. That's a haul. Dave Bodine that I run a micro for, he's talked about it in the past, but then you're out there and then you either come back or you're out there for 3 weeks basically. Right. So it's it's kind of a hard thing, So yeah, I've never done Tulsa, but we run Chili Bowl before, and you just kind of got to go into that building, especially with me not having midget experience before this year. Really, you don't expect, you can't walk out of there with your head hanging. You got to go there.
It is what it is.
You have fun. Yeah, basically. No, I mean, it's a cool event though. Like my first time being there was just cool to be there to check out the scenery of everything, the pits, and it was an awesome experience.
And now you look at the USAC East Coast series. You, Joey, Mike, the young guns of the series, but then you have Steven, Buckwalter, the veterans, and it comes down to the young gun versus the veteran for a points title yet again coming in tonight. And you got to say, Mikey has the hot shoe right now, taking home 2 wins last night.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody's on top of their game right now, and just look back 2 years ago, guys are definitely catching up and they're getting more consistent. So it's just a matter of staying on top of the racetrack. This place, a lot of guys have more laps at than most because we run here the most. So it kind of makes it a little bit more tricky as far as coming through the back of the field. The best I can start tonight is 8th or 9th, depending on the heat race format. So makes it a little bit tougher to get through traffic, but I think we got enough laps and a racy track. You can make anything happen.
And not to look too far ahead, but we were just talking to Kyle about the same thing. We're getting to the end of the year, right? We're down there. So anything for next year yet? Any ideas? You don't have to release anything if you're not ready. But...
Yeah, no. We're just gonna race as much as we can, really. Whether it's national stuff, dabble around with some wing stuff. We weren't really intending on racing for points this year. We just kind of went out and raced whenever we could, and a lot of these weekends were open. So we kind of put ourselves in a position where we just went and raced, and now we're in a point situation. So I think the goal is next year to not necessarily run for points, and if we got to go run some wing stuff instead of running point shows, that's what we'll do to fill in the weekends and not put ourselves in a situation where if we want to go somewhere else and not have to run a points race, then we'll go do that. But no, we'll just go out and race and go from there.
Well, we'll let you get out of here. Get ready for tonight. You want to give a shout out to some sponsors, anybody that helps you get to the track?
Yeah, definitely. Boulevard Truck Repair, E. Schneider and Sons, DRC Chassis, FK Shocks, Tim and Fran, Heather and Tammy, everybody that pitches in and makes the whole program possible. My parents for coming out, my girlfriend, and everybody for pitching in, and hopefully we'll end off tonight with a win and a good season finish.
Briggs, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking time
Thanks
out.
for having me on.
Briggs
Have a good
Danner,
night.
ladies and gentlemen.
Alex walked away to find
Alex went
our
to go find our next guest.
third guest.
Let's talk a little bit about the 410s and the 360s here before we get into modifieds. 410s, there's a lot. You definitely said Reinhardt's definitely a favorite. We also got Macri here. He looked really fast last night. Tyler Ross with the victory last night. Got himself also locked into the dash tonight. What other drivers are you looking at?
I mean, I think you always look up and down the pits. I mean, Justin Peck's here.
Yep.
Freddie's here. There's some really good cars, good race cars here, and there's some cars that we don't know a ton about and race locally here. So we'll have to keep an eye on some of those. But I mean, you look at Bridgeport. I feel like whenever I watch a race here, it's the same. There's the same few guys, and it's a great show. But I think you have to have Macri, Reinhardt, Peck, Tyler Ross. I've seen Tyler Ross run really good here in the 360, URC, and a lot of places. And it's a 410, and he's in his own deal here. So we'll see. And hey, Dylan Norris is here in the 11P.
Yep.
Dylan Norris knows how to use the right pedal. So we'll find out for sure. But I think looking up and down through here, I mean, Justin Whittle had a good showing last night. He was right there with Tyler Ross for a while. I know he's itching to get that win. So that 410 win. So we'll find out. But I think Justin Peck, right?
Yeah, Justin Peck's got to be.
Macri and Peck.
Macri and Peck,
Reinhardt?
I definitely for sure. But it could really be any one of about 10 different drivers, like you were saying. There's a lot of good cars here tonight.
And not to take away from anyone else in the wingless, but I think it's Briggs, right?
Yeah, I
that's our guy.
I'm
I
with
think.
you. Yeah,
I mean, no bias, no recency bias here.
No,
We
and I
just had him on the show.
And I also think with the title and everything on the line, that I think he's just going to be on that pedal and he's going to
Great
be
deal.
ripping.
All right, Alex, introduce us.
We're going to bring in JoJo Watson. Recorded 2 wins on the year. Came home second in points.
I like the
Danny
shirt.
Pizza Pizzazz Modifieds.
Go Birds.
He lost a bet to have to wear it. So there's actually a Jets fan. He had to wear it because
Who's a Jets fan?
I don't know.
But no, JoJo, good up and down season. Let's be honest here. Opening night win, and a mid-season end up in the fence, but then bounce back about 2 weeks later, get the second win on the year, come home second in points, and it was a hard-fought point season.
Yeah, I just think a lot of people probably don't understand it. It's probably the hardest track in the country to start 15th after you win or after you have a good run and to come back up through there. So, I mean, you'll see tonight. I mean, these sprint guys, the guys that start in the middle towards the back of the pack are going to have their hands full getting up through there because it's a flat-out fast track, flat on the floor. It's wild racing to be behind the seat out there.
And to talk about, everyone was hoping to see championship night, you versus Jordan for the championship. Sadly, Mother Nature, just like most of the season, played toll and took home another win for them. But consistency was key, just a few up and downs, car issues to start the year, and then, of course, the DNF getting in the fence. But to come home second in points had to be a strong run.
Oh, no, it was definitely something to be proud of. He didn't have a DNF. We had a DNF. The last points race that we had here that we ran, there was a little pile up. I ran in the back of him, ripped his rear clip off, and somehow he finished the race, and I had a bent front axle to race with the whole time. So it just
Never fails.
it's just one of them things. But I go home, lay my head down at night, and know that we did all we could do. And if there's one guy here that I wanted to beat me in points, it'd be him. So I'm all right with that.
Is it also the same guy you don't want to have beaten points if you could beat him?
Oh yeah.
Same
He's
thing, right?
definitely he's the one guy that I'd like to beat. But if I was going to lose to somebody, it'd be him. Like he's the one guy that I'd hope to beat tonight too. You know what I mean? But we're going to see what happens.
I follow the division lightly. If I'm at a track, I watch. I'm not nearly as educated as Alex on kind of your division and the roster. But tell me a little bit about your car and what you guys drive in this place. It probably is it a little different or a lot different than where you guys mostly race? I feel like you race some tracks that are banked and you do some things, but is this different than most things you do all year?
Yeah, I mean it's probably the one track around where you got to race with eyes in the back of your head. like you go in the corner to slide somebody and you're thinking about the guy that's behind you getting ready to cross you guys both up. Like you got to really plan out how it's going to happen, because if you go in there and mess up, you're going to lose 4 cars and it takes forever to get back by everybody. Like it's definitely a tough place to race. I think that it's kind of suited for a younger guy because I mean you're hammered down the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean there's nothing about it. You're going as hard as you can for however many laps that feature is.
So you're saying if you end up starting on the pole of the feature, you're okay with it?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Would that be
Without a
okay?
doubt. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd prefer to start closer to the front as I can, but we drew 37, so we're gonna have to probably come up through the heat race a little bit, but we'll be fine.
Yeah, and what do you think about this track? I mean, were you here last night to watch? Did you get out there at all?
No, actually, we ran down to Georgetown last night, so we
Okay.
had to wash everything up and get everything back to come up here.
A little bumpy, a little heavy. I just can't see, no matter how much water they pull out of whatever river's nearby, that it stays that way tonight. Do you feel like it's going to take a swing from when you start the night to the end of the night?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, there's gonna be more cars here, I would assume, tonight than what there was last night. A little more racing. The weather's definitely gonna play a factor. The only thing I think we probably don't want to see is maybe to take a little bit of rubber, but I think they'll be able to. It's a nice day, so if they got to get out there and put a little water on the track to stop it from doing that, I think all the fans will appreciate that. So,
Yes,
you know,
we would, by the way.
Yes.
Put me on that list. I think the rest of us as well. We don't want that.
But I will
dreaded
say
R word.
it's probably one of the one tracks around that if it does rubber up, it's normally 2 lanes. So I mean, the only thing is really going to hurt your wallet more than anything, but the racing's still good, if that makes sense.
It hurt your wallet, not
Yeah.
mine. Jimmy, what do you got?
I don't really know anything too much about this division. This is my first time here. So I mean, he kind of already took my,
I took your
like,
question.
you took my question, and
challenges.
just explain a lap to me around here in a modified. Like, what's the differences between the 2 corners for you?
Really not. There really isn't that much. I mean, 1 and 2 definitely has a lot more banking, but 3 and 4 is a little more the finesse corner where you kind of got to set the guy up for the slider, because 1 and 2 you can kind of slide somebody in there, but they can still get back by you because there's so much banking for them to regroup, and you're kind of gathering everything back up. So, but definitely 3 and 4 is the bread and butter corner. If you want to have a good race car, you got to get through 3 and 4 good.
So when you said eyes in the back of your head, are there times where you're planning the run in 3 and 4, but someone's planning one on you and they get to you before you get to that car?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But the thing is, this track's so wide, so you kind of go in the corner and you got one eye looking up the track and the other one looking down the track. You're looking for that guy to come, because I mean, there's plenty of room out there that you shouldn't be getting into anybody out there, really. I mean, it's going to happen, but it's one of the tracks around that's real wide and you can really race on it.
And a lot of the divisions that I've seen race here can really do the cut down if they need to. Is that something that's an effective tool to use here? Can you guys really do a cut down in your cars and really get that drive off if somebody does a slide or messes up mid late corner?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And if you can get under that guy coming off turn 2, it really lets you launch you on the backstretch. You even get the run on the next guy getting into 3. Like, it really sets you up. You really get a lot of momentum. Like, the sprints are definitely amazing to see here when they do that, because it looks like they just hit nitrous.
The speed difference is wild.
Oh yeah. It's like watching Indy a few years ago when they had a little nitrous button they could use, but it's just like bam.
Alex, what do you got, buddy?
And you look through the pits here, a lot of competition, getting a tune-up for next week. Again, the Dana Serrano High Banks Classic, 50 laps. And compared to, 30-lap A mains that we run, or 20-lap A mains, now you add 50 laps. And Mother Nature, it could be a hot day like it is today, or it could be a cold one. So what's your plan to take from, again, this week and all summer long into that final race?
I think definitely probably the plan is tonight is to have a good heat race, put us in position to be able to win. And next week's probably going to be a totally different race because you're going to run 50 laps, put a lot of heat in the tires. So that's going to be one of the races where you need to kind of hope you kind of can start in the front and manage your tires at the same time. So at the end, last 20 laps, you're going as hard as you can go, but you can't overheat the tires, because once you do, they're not coming back.
Well, let me ask you about that, because again, my unfamiliarity. Can you tell in the driver's seat if you're abusing the tire based on how the car's handling, or is that just experience knowing, hey, I've been a little too hard on it here, I gotta slow the pace down? Or is it corner entry?
No, it's basically here with the sliders and everything. If that track has a little bit of black in there and you go throw a slider, and if you do it and your tires got a lot of heat in them, they might not come back the rest of the race. So you kind of got to be a little smart about it, know how long the run you're into and all that. And it's really, I would assume with the sprint cars too, you got to keep your tires on you, because once they're going, at least with these American racers, they ain't coming back.
Got it. And educate me here. What are your tire choices? Is it American Racer? Everybody's on the same thing, or do you have some options?
Yeah, for tonight's race, it's American Racer 53 on the right rear, 44 on the left rear. You can run softer compounds in the front, but the fronts really don't matter as much.
Yeah, you only run with one on the ground anyway.
Yeah. So, but the 53 sometimes it's a little iffy for here, but the way the track's been the last 3/4 of the year, we've been pretty good on tires here.
Fair enough. We'll get you out of here. We won't take up too much more of your time. Thanks some sponsors, shout outs. Who gets you here?
Yeah, I got to thank CW Warrington Auto Gallery. If anybody's down around Lewis, Delaware, stop down there, buy yourself a car. Just everybody that's been there this year, the crew. It takes a village to be able to do this, and it's hard to tell up in the stands, but how much work goes into a race car. And I just got to thank everybody that's been with us all year. Bayline Construction, it's been a fun year, and hopefully we can pick up a win here the next 2 races and go into the winter happy.
We appreciate you taking some time. Good luck tonight. Go get them.
Best of luck. Thank you. JoJo Watson.
Alex, hey, it's your turn.
Oh boy.
Okay, I gotta know, Alex. This is your home turf. We're the invaders here watching. Who are we looking out for in that division tonight? What are some names other than the Watsons? Turns out. Who else are we looking out for here tonight?
Neil Williams is here, 2-time winner this year, and Neil's another one who's been plagued by motor issues all year. So
He's going to have one tonight, right?
He got hot.
Is he going to have a motor tonight? So he'll be here. So we're watching out for him.
He is parked right there in that Thornton's garage 0.
That 0 right there. It looks like a diamond, but it's a 0. It's a bright orange 0. So if there's more than one of you watching this, bright orange 0. Alex says that's the car. One of the cars to look out for. Who else?
But of course, like you said, the Watsons. Few cars still have to sign in. So once I looked, I think the Martzes are here. Sammy Martz Jr. Again, there's been a lot of fast cars here that have been plagued with issues and heartbreak throughout the year. Sammy Martz Jr. is one of them. Sammy Martz Sr., one of the biggest veterans in the field here. Roger Manning is here tonight. Davey Salmon. So again, it's just like USAC East Coast. You have the young guns, and then you have the veterans here. And for tonight, again, it's one of those for some of these guys getting a tune-up for next weekend.
You know, Davey Salmon is an interesting one. I watched him years and years ago in a 410. So not a lack of experience behind the wheel of a race car for sure. And I know he's from this area, so I would imagine he's going to have a beautiful-looking race car. Is it still white and blue? What color is that car?
It is I want to say a black.
And is it 747? What's his number?
I'm not 100%. I've seen
Come on, Alex.
Salmon's? No,
What's the
Salmon's
number?
is 79.
79.
He's
Okay.
been here twice this year, so
Twice. That's it?
twice.
You don't have this memorized. This guy. All right, Alex, you're the guy here. You're at Bridgeport. Who do you have to thank this season helping you be here and some of the track supporters?
Well, of course, Doug Rose is, him and Brittany have ran this place phenomenal, reconfigured to the track. And Jimmy, you said it when you first showed up here. The track is a lot banked, more than you think it is when you see
Absolutely.
it on flow. You walk into this place, and it's called the Kingdom for a reason, because when you walk in here, you know that it's going to be fast, and you know you're going to have sliders left and right. We saw it last night in the non-winners, and I think you're going to see it here tonight in all 3 classes. Haymakers will be thrown. But again, victory fuel. We all got some victory fuel for today.
Yeah, I already finished one. I'm going to need another one probably. Hopefully they're cold. It was really good. That was the first one of those.
This
I
is
had, by the way.
fantastic.
It's
First,
unbelievable.
yeah,
I needed retailers around where I'm at. I guess
Yeah.
I'll have to order it online.
yeah, we need to find it.
But I also got to give a shout out to, Merchandise Row is here. Kyle Spence has equipment, as there is Kyle Spence.
What's up, Kyle? Hey, they made me change out. I had your shirt on. They made me put on this shirt. I had to play corporate T2T guy. Man. Good luck, buddy.
But of course, Anthony Macri has merchandise. Dylan Norris has merchandise as well. And you might want to get that 44 merchandise because sadly this is the last year of that.
Yep.
So you might want to get that merchandise while it lasts. Devin Borden has merchandise. That trailer's not open yet. Danny Dietrich has merchandise as well. A few drivers in the pits have theirs in their trailer. Joey Amantia has merchandise as well, and a tough one for him, blowing up a 410 motor last night. So sadly, we won't see him in winged action. He was going to pull double duty. Timmy Buckwalter's here. Cam Smith just pulled in.
Oh.
So there's a lot of cars still pulling in.
Yeah, there's still this whole time I've been watching. There's been more and more haulers pulling in, so pits are getting packed.
Of course, Danny's Pizza Pizzazz being the title sponsor of the Modifieds for tonight and all season long. FNL Doors being the heat race sponsor for them. Precision Hydraulic and Oil, the Sportsman, which they will have a topless race Friday night. So that's going to be, a lot of the drivers wait for that topless race because it's the first time, the one and only time most of them get to run. So the roof is off, and if you ask modified guys or sportsman drivers, it changes the car, just like a wing and non-wing. You take the roof off that, and it's a different animal.
Those have always been cool races when I got to see those. It just looks funny, but if the drivers like it and it's more fun, I mean, let's do more of it. I think you getting to see the drivers, getting to see more of the driver unobstructed is. I think fans would enjoy that. I've always like late models would do that sometimes, and I've always thought that was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, and tonight's format. So again, 3 cars are already locked into tonight's dash, and to think, okay, Anthony Macri's in, Kyle Reinhardt's in, but then you look at that last and final one.
Yep.
Tyler Ross goes, wins the non-winners feature last night. Had about maybe 15 minutes to change the car, whatever he needed to do, comes out and sets a quick time. So you look at the notable guys that are not in that dash right now. Danny Dietrich, Freddie Raymer, the two, Justin Peck's in the pits tonight. He's going to be another one to keep an eye out. And there's a handful of guys that aren't in that dash that want to lock in, because starting up front might be the game changer here. Like they all said, it's a harder place to get from 15th to first. It's possible, but you're going to have to do something nobody else does.
Are you saying it's harder to come from 15th to first than win from the pole?
Yes.
You heard it here, guys. Alex Robinson with the key of the night. Start up front. Do what you can to start up front. So we'll be looking forward to that. I want to thank you guys here at Bridgeport Speedway for having Jimmy and I here. A bunch of goofballs that just do a podcast every now and then. Winter season's coming. Interview season's coming. So if you got a driver you want to have see on this winter to interview, we'll get them on, and hopefully they don't have Matt Campbell's internet, and we'll be able to talk to him actually. So saw Matt actually after his accident. He was on a wheel, through the pits. It looks like his ankle surgery went well.
Good.
And we were chatting, and he mentioned about that. He's like, "Yeah, I guess I got a better internet for next year, so we'll have to have him back and try again." So we appreciate you.
We got to remember when Kyle Spence, Aunt Bay said, if Kyle Spence wins today, he's doing a shoey in victory lane. So they held you accountable. So if Kyle's in victory lane, we got to hold him accountable.
Oh,
for that
I will. So believe me. And, it won't wait till a show the next day. It's going to happen in victory lane.
We'll be down there to hand him beer.
Because listen, I know he's always thirsty, so he's ready for a beer, and I'll have one or 7 or 9 with him.
Well, thank everybody for joining us. This is the first time we're really doing something like this. I really got to thank Bridgeport for helping us out, letting us do this. Alex, thank you for setting this up. All the fans are rolling in. The haulers are packing the pits. It's a beautiful day outside. You still got time to get here. Cars go on track around 4 o'clock. So if not, and if you're at home and you can't make it, definitely watch it on Flow. You're going to see a great event tonight. And anything else?
That's it, man. Let's watch some racing.
Let's go watch some racing.
Thank you.
Thank
guys.
everyone.
Take care.